Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to overall talk on going through it. Like, you going through some stuff mentally. I feel like that talking on like mental health and mental like illnesses and all that stuff, I feel like it's very important, because there's a lot of different things in this world that can affect you. And I think if you are a long time listener of my podcast, then you know how big I am talking about my own mental problems, others' mental problems. Like, there's a lot out there. Like, I got people left and right talking about their mental problems because I'm big on social media. So, like, where's the one place you're gonna go to when you want to get those like mental problems like out of your head and stuff, or you overall are like seeking advice or something? You go on to social media. You go on like YouTube. You go on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like, I've seen so many different people just like in the recent like years, like where they always talk on like how they're going through some stuff. And that's one thing I try to do. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do is when you see somebody overall, like, they're dealing with some stuff or they post about some stuff, reach out to them. Like, talk with them. Like, let them know, like, hey, you ain't alone. Because that's why a person goes out on the internet and even talk about their problems in the first place. Because they feel alone. Like, I'm saying that, like, I'm speaking on my own experience. Like, I know when I go out and I talk about my own mental problems, it's because I feel alone. I feel alone, honestly. I'll be in a group with hundreds of people and I still will feel alone. I'll go to the mall, I'll go to my favorite stores, I'll go anywhere, and I still feel alone. Even today, I was out walking around trying to like work on this like new idea and stuff. Or I was more so trying to find like resources, I don't know, but anyways, like overall, like I was out today and I'm like just surrounded by people the whole time. Like I'm surrounded by people that are my age, a little bit older, a little bit younger. And you could easily just go up to somebody and just start talking with them and things. And I don't know, like I feel like nobody don't really be doing stuff like that. But at times, like, that's what I really just be wanting to do. Like, I just be wanting to go up to just random people and just have a conversation with them. Because man, I'm telling you, it's like when you're like, that's where my mind is at right now. Like, where I'm like, bruh, like, can anybody just hear me out? Because man, I'm telling you, it's something where I'm like, man, I don't want nobody in this world to think like how I'm thinking, where you feel alone, where it's you're following hundreds of people for no reason. You got subscribe, like, well, not so much like subscribers and stuff. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, with my subscribers and with the people that are following me, you just overall, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times like people only follow me because I'm an entertaining person. I know if I was just talking on my own like mental problems, ain't nobody gonna care about that. That's the thing with social media, is that nobody cares about others like mental issues until they start dealing with some stuff, and then that's when they're posting left and right, like, cries for help pretty much. And it's messed up that it's like that. It's very, very messed up that it's like that. You shouldn't like, oh, I can't help you out, but when I'm dealing with my stuff, I expect you to help me out. Like that, nah, it shouldn't be no like one-way street. Like, nah, that street better had two ways, like one going one way and one going back the other. I'm like, it shouldn't be no one-way street where everything is just coming out of me and stuff. And like, nah, that's messed up. It's very messed up. So that's why I'm like, I'm always big on like talking with people and letting them know, like, hey, you're not alone. And I tell that to like a close friend or a random person I just met. I just had it where, because somebody was talking, it was a random person I seen on TikTok, and I took the time to reach out to them and let them know, like, hey, you're not alone. Always understand that. Like, if you're dealing with some stuff, hey, I don't know you. We ain't the best of friends. So I'm most likely, and the reason why I say that is because I'm like, I know you are most likely not going to trust me to tell me, your issues in life. And that's the thing where I'm like, I'm the one person where you don't ever have to worry. Like, if I do talk about stuff, from a person, it's to more so like to give out advice from others, but I ain't gonna be like name calling or name, pointing and all that stuff, telling, oh, that was the person that was, like, I ain't gonna be doing all of that. If anything's, I'm gonna be trying to help out others. I'm like, oh, well, I know a friend or I know a person that went through the same stuff you dealing with, and this is what they did, and proceed on going on with the conversation and stuff. But that's one thing for sure. I'm like, you never have to worry about me being like, oh yeah, my who can I even mention? All right, let's say if I was a random person, I'm like, oh yeah, my friend TMossBoss Tyler, he be dealing with all these like mental issues where he be feeling alone and all that stuff, and he be crying and all, like that. To me, I'm like, that's messed up. I'm like, don't do no stuff like that, especially if I ain't even like sign off on like you talking about my personal issues and stuff. If anything's just be like, oh yeah, I have a friend that was like telling me about that, and then I just leave it at that. It's like, as long as I'm like, my thing is this, and I know that will probably be like the most easiest way to like get people, but I just still feel like it's rude to just really put a person's personal business out there like that, without like them, then they just getting a bunch of like, that's like when somebody like goes and takes your phone number and they just start throwing it like all over like it like random parts of, because I seen a video like that not too long ago, and then when people be taking like the planes and be having that phone number on like some like sign thing and they be flying it, that's how I kind of see it. Like, I'm like, I ain't asked you to do that. Why you doing that? I got all these random people calling me and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't need that in my life. So that's like, and to any of my friends, don't ever do a prank like that to me. Because I'm like, the phone number I've had this phone number since, middle school. I'm like, I do not want to change my phone number. So, but anyways, what else can I really talk on with like mental illnesses and stuff? That's, to just overall talk to people that are, dealing with it. Like, you should know that there's other people out there dealing with the same stuff as you. Like, I feel like the one thing that I deal with, the most is feeling, or that, like, the feeling of not being accepted. I everywhere I go, I honestly feel like I'm just not accepted in that crowd. And so it don't even matter, like, if it's people that are showing love to me or people that are not showing love to me. And that's why I'm like, when it's a crowd that I want to be a part of and I just don't feel accepted, I feel like that's when it kind of, like, well, dang, okay, let me go find something else to do. But people probably would hear me say that, and then they would think that, oh, that's had like an effect on me when I was dealing with hate on YouTube and crap. And I'm like, fam, that was a crowd I never wanted to be a part of in the first place. So that's like to just mention that and talk on that real quick. I never wanted to be a part of that crowd. That's the one crowd where I want to avoid. Okay, so yes, always know that, like, if you if you're going through it, trust me, you should know right off the bat, like, which crowds that you want to be a part of and which crowds you shouldn't be a part of and stuff. Because I'm like, I don't care how lonely I feel, I would never want to get involved in the wrong crowd. So, but anyways, but that's like what I'm more so like dealing with in life, is just not feeling accepted by people. I'm like, where I want to go talk to a girl and the girl's like, nah, I ain't trying to start nothing with you and stuff, or even just a friend group, whatever. That was just like, even like, that was kind of like how I was in school. Because like school, of course, like they got like the popular kids and they got like the, the weird kids that be thinking they be actually doing some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball Z fights and stuff. And then you got like Then you got like the average kids like me, where it's like, you popular but you weird at the same time. Like, but you ain't weird on that level of starting fictional fights and stuff. You might do a couple of wrestling moves on a friend of yours or something. But also, like, you do know, like, I would have to say that was definitely me when I was in school. But I never fit in. And at times I didn't even feel like I fitted in with the crowd that I was, like, that I was pretty much signed off to. And it's just, it's crazy to think that, like, the years of like living where it's like I had friends from when I was in elementary that I don't even talk to no more. I had friends from middle school that I don't even talk to no more. Friends from high school I don't even talk to no more. It's like friends at my old job I don't even talk to anymore. It's like, it's that's like what runs through my head. I mean, at the end of the day, like, the phones like work both ways. So I very well could reach out to these people and they very well could reach out to me. I feel like it should always be a half and half situation and stuff. But I don't know, like with me, I'm like, once I just got it like built up in my head, I'm like, hey yo, if that person don't want to be bothered, I'm like, I ain't gonna like waste the time. Like if we cool and all that, then I think, something like that should be shown and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like me, I pay attention to a lot of things, I just don't leave off. And I talked on that. I talked on that in the last episode. Like when I see a scenario, I think of a lot of different things. I don't just think of one thing. I don't just think like, oh, okay, maybe that person's busy. Maybe they got some things going on. Maybe, there's like a lot of things that's running through my head at that time. And it's not like, oh, they hate me, and I think that's one thing that people should honestly know is that if a person is not talking to you, it's not that they hate you. There could be a lot of the reasons, but at the end of the day, it should never be running through your mind how that person feels about you. However that person feels about you, that is their own feeling. That's what they want to do. That's how they want to think. At the end of the day, like you are your own person, so you should at the end of the day just focus on yourself. Don't, focus on what other people are thinking and focus on, like it's one of those things where it's like you shouldn't do that. Like there's a lot of things that you can think about. You got like the whole day to think about whatever, and then the dope thing about it, wake up tomorrow, you got the next day to start thinking. The last thing you should be thinking about is how others feel about you. Don't ever think for a second like, oh, okay, I gotta gain these people's approval. Like I am, and that's probably like how life is, where it's like, you overall got to gain people's approval. But I feel like if that's the case, I'm like, then they've been through some stuff. And overall, like, yeah, you should never, a person that's been through some stuff, you should never do them dirty. You should never do them dirty. That's the thing where I'm like, I mean, I feel like the people in my life that have done me dirty, they really don't know too much about my personal life. I'm not like that open person where I just go out. But I mean, like, if there are some stuff that does go down and it's similar to situations previously before, and then it's still like the same outcome, even though like you still doing me dirty after I just told you, like, then yeah, it's people like that where I'm like, you know what? I try to talk to those people less. Like very, very less. Like I try to just, okay, well, I know how that person is. I'm just going to stay over here. And that's like one of the things I'm really trying to do, because there are people that I do know of, and I'm like, they put me in situations where I'm like, you know what? I really don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. And I'm like, at the end of the day, and that's why I overall wanted to, just let people know, like, that are dealing with, like, loneliness. And it's like a mental, like, thing that's like, it's playing a big factor in your head. Like, when you're dealing with loneliness, it's okay. Because my thing is this. Would you rather be alone, like, by yourself, where you, like, you by yourself, or with people that have done you dirty, that has done you wrong, that has overall caused you to cry, that has overall caused unnecessary amounts of anger, that's caused all of these different problems within you, stuff that you wasn't even dealing with. Like, there's things I wasn't even dealing with, like, 2 years prior. And I feel like, like, last year, like, I was really going through some stuff because of people. And when I sit down and think about that, I'm like, man, like, why am I such, like, and I was asking, I think I was like, talking about that with another friend of mine. And I was saying, I was just like, why am I so much of a nice person? Like, that's like one thing that I always think about, like, to just really, go like a little bit deep in depth in my head and stuff, and kind of, switching back and forth, talking, whatever and stuff. But no, I think that I always think, I'm like, why am I such a nice person? Like, no, but I feel like everybody that I've met in my life has always had, like, said something or did something to, like, really get underneath my skin and, like, really cause, like, something out of me and stuff. From friends, family, co-workers. I mean, it's just a lot of, like, and I'm like, man, why am I so nice? Why am I so forgiving? Why am I like, dang, you know what? Nah, I'm like, I'm gonna just leave you alone, cause... And I'm telling you, like, that's like one thing I'm like, I wish I could shake that. here's the thing. I like being cool with people. I love making people happy. But at times I'm like, I feel like I just make the wrong people happy and then they just kind of, take advantage of that. And so I'm sitting here like, sad, depressed, dealing with my mental stuff, and then all these people surrounding me is just happy. And then it's like a part of me, I'm like, I really don't like thinking like that. I don't like being jealous of people, but I am. Like, I see people dealing with, like, I see couples being happy. I see couples having kids. I see couples getting married. And, I'm sitting here, like, making YouTube videos and Twitch streaming and making TikToks, content and stuff. Not that there's a problem with that, but like, can I at least have like somebody to like do that with? Like, that's where I feel like where that loneliness like really comes into play. It's like when you're on social media so much and then you're watching these fictional movies or real life movies or whatever, and then a lot of the times they be having romance stuff in it, and then these love stories, and I'm just sitting here like with nobody. Like it's just, man, like I'm telling you, like like my emotions play a strong factor in like the stuff that I see, because I'm like, I wish I could just look at that stuff and just be like, it's it's whatever. Like, that's one thing that I wanted to overall talk on before I like end this, because I'm probably gonna do a part 2 where I talk more on like mental like illnesses and mental health and all that stuff. But it was in July, and it was like a childhood friend of mine. Like, I've known him ever since elementary and stuff. And I was, I was just straight up with him, and I mean, I didn't overall tell him the reason why I didn't want to show up to his wedding, but I did tell him, I'm like, look, man, I'm dealing with some stuff. And overall, like, I just think that it just won't be my place of business to show up to your wedding and stuff. This is like my childhood friend. This is my brother. This is somebody I'm like, bro, like, I love this dude like a brother. That's one person where I'm like, man, if I could have a brother in life, it would be him. But anyways, he overall was getting married, and he invited me like a while like back. I knew he was getting married too. There's something I was like, I knew it was gonna happen, so I was just like, okay, dope. He said he was getting me. I think he told me like the year, like last year, and so I was just like, all right, dope. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, fam, I'm showing up to this. I'm doing this. Like, it's gonna be dope. And so around the time, like, of when it was like getting ready to like go on and stuff, July, I kind of like, I wouldn't say that I had like a relapse moment, but I did have a moment where I kind of, went back, not like all the way back, but I kind of like went back in that mindset of how I was like last year when I was really going through some stuff. The only difference was this time I wasn't crying my eyes out, laying around being, sick and sad and all that stuff. Like, I was still, being active and doing things, but I was, I did take like a hit, and I did, overall it was just, it hurt, like the stuff, overall I'm just going to say the things that I saw, it hurt. It hurt me and stuff. So I overall, like, I just kind of have like this thing where I'm like, I really don't want to, see no like love or no romance or nobody and all that. And I know that's a pretty selfish thing of mine, and I should really like shake that and stuff and, get that out of my head. And if anybody does have any advice on that, I'm like, hey, yo, like, comment underneath the video or whatever, like, just letting me know. But anyways, but yeah, I told him, I was just like, I just, I can't, I was like, and I was thinking all this, like, all that week of, I was just like, I can't do it. Like, and I was really trying to, like, build up the courage and build up the motivation to show up. And I couldn't, because I'm like, I know I'm going to just, I'm going to get at this wedding and just be thinking, like, why is that not me up there? Why is it like, I'm thinking, I'm like, the thing is this, I am happy that my friend got married. It wasn't like I wasn't going to show and be like, oh, no, I object, whoever, I'm like, or yeah, priest, I'm like, nah, because, I ain't going to be doing all of that. But I'm like, just to eliminate like the bad thoughts and just overall like, put myself in an environment where it's going to make me uncomfortable, I'm like, I overall did that. And I feel bad about it, because I'm like, dang, like, I think like that'd be a little bit too much to ask. Like, oh, can you guys have like one of those like anniversary things, but it's a wedding, so I can show up to that. And I'm like, but I'm like, that's I should have showed up. Overall, I should have showed up. I should have just put that stuff aside, and that's what I was saying yesterday. When I was talking on that whole motivational video that I watched, where the guy was like, oh, you could pick up put a glass back down and let it go. Like I said, like that glass was glued to my hand, on this situation. So I still feel like it is glued to my hand and stuff. And I do feel like at times, like glue is just being re-added to it. Like, cause in case if it's like, like right when the glue is about to like, just turn into dust and just fall apart and all that, and that glass just gonna fall out my hand, I just feel like it just gets glued up right back all over again. So that's what I'm saying. Like, with mental health, mental illnesses and all that, it ain't no joke. It is not fun at all. And I'm like, anybody that is happy, anybody that's not going through it right now, like, be grateful. Thank God. And if you are going through it, if you got your, like, mental health issues and mental illnesses going on, I pray to God that you seek, something in life that does make you genuinely happy. I'm saying that for myself, too, because I'm like, man, it's hard. It's hard out here, man. So, but anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Y'all already know the promo deals at the end of my podcast episode, so I ain't gonna go through on all that. Probably on a more positive episode I will, but just on an episode like this, I'm not. So go to one of my other, like, least serious episodes, and you'll hear all that stuff. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace. Thank you.